Lead for Libraries, Councilmember Will Jawando. Mr. Jawando is going through his library tours. I'll let him tell you all about it. He's very proud of it, and we are so proud to have him visiting our branches, meeting the community, and learning all about what libraries can provide. And so thank you for being here tonight, Councilmember, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Director Vasallo, and good to see everybody. I am in the beautiful Olney Library and sitting at one of the, I don't know what these are called, but kind of collaboration, not a room, but a little bench here. It's kind of a half moon, and got my double masks on here because there are workers and library staff around doing their jobs. I think one of the points that I always want to emphasize is that while the branches are physically closed to the public, they've been a lot of activity going on in these branches and a lot of work happening with the holds to go and digital programming and a whole range of things. So we want to just lift that up. We are still hopeful about getting reopened as we start to reopen the rest of our economy and other services to the public. But it's great to see everybody. I'm glad we have a good little group here today. And this is, I always get the number wrong, but I think this is number, Seamus, help me out here. What number library is this that we've done?
Oh, I'm not sure. It's got to be at least 12 or 13. Got to be 13 at least.
Yeah. So I know we're more than halfway through. We started them as Lead for Libraries. I have the honor of leading the budgetary process for libraries on the council, and also it's our equivalent to a subcommittee chairman of the library when we deal with those issues on the council. And as Director Vasallo said, I take it very seriously and I'm very proud. I grew up in the Long Branch area of Silver Spring and spent a lot of time at the Long Branch Library. And it was critical to my development and a great lifeline to me. And I also have seen that over the years in my work in education policy, my work as an attorney, and now as a council member, that the power of libraries and not only the power, but the potential for them to transform minds and lives and help communities. And I think now more than ever, that was true prior to the pandemic. It's even more so as we work to come out of the pandemic and recover and get people connected to services, to jobs, to learning, to supports, to early childhood education, go down the list. And our library system is very poised to build upon the great work and legacy that has already happened over the past years. And I'm excited to be a part of that. And so this library tour idea was just twofold. I'm an at-large member of the council. So I also use this as an opportunity to go and meet the community that I represent, the entire council, or the entire county rather. And the good thing about this is that our libraries are strategically placed. Our 21 public and one at the jail in Clarksburg are all over the county. And so by visiting all the libraries, you're really visiting all of our communities. And so I know we have some people that are that this is your home library. And so we'll want to talk to you about any issue. So I'm going to maybe spend about 5 minutes, give you a couple of updates on some key things related to COVID and other things we're working on. And then we'll just go into questions, and you can ask things about the library, tell me things you think I should know, but you can ask things about any, or give a comment about any issue. I serve on the Education and Culture Committee. I serve on the Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee as well. But being one of 9 council members and being an at-large member, I work on many, many issues. And so anything you want to bring up, it's my honor to hear, and we'll take some notes. If I can't answer you today or give you feedback, we'll follow up with you. So, and then I see we have Jay in there, who's the library, the branch manager here at Olney, who let me in. Thank you for that. So with that, let me just give you a couple of updates on where we are with COVID and reopening and the various other things we're working on. We continue to kind of be in a moderate to high risk category as far as our case count. The state has seen the numbers inching upward. We're 23 out of 24 counties as far as having the lowest positivity rate, but we're still above 3 per 100,000. And we still have, a significant about 100 cases a day, give or take, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. And so we're not where we need to be, but we are making progress. We are pushing forward with vaccinations. We recently got increased allocations from the state. The mass vaccination site opened this week in Germantown, and we are going to be getting increasing numbers of vaccines, we're told, in the next couple of weeks. So we've vaccinated just under 150,000 county residents to this point. We have about 1.1 million residents, and many of those residents are targeted in our older population because we know they're more at risk. And now, as eligibility is opening up, we are doing about 5,000 vaccinations a day in the county. And so we hope that we will continue to get more numbers and put more shots in arms. So that's a good thing. We are still at 50% capacity for restaurants and some other other retail establishments. We're going to hold there. We think the cautious approach we've taken, as well as requiring mask wearing and other sorts of precautions and social distancing, has served us well and kept us, even though we're the largest county, at one of the lowest positivity and case rates. And so we continue to do that. We're also working on the budget right now. We're very happy that President Biden and Vice President Harris were able to push through the American Rescue Plan, which is going to give over $200 million, really more than that because our municipalities get money as well, but more than $203 million that comes to the county that we're going to be able to allocate for things like food security, rental assistance. We have a rental assistance program opening, phase 3, round 3 of that opening up, because we're really concerned about the impending eviction crisis and foreclosure crisis. And we have a whole range of programs. I just passed a small business support program for some of our smallest businesses to help them with rent. So we're doing a whole range of things to help our community get through this time and our residents get through this time. But that money will really help us shore up our budget and make sure that we can support the critical services like our schools, like our libraries, like our police and fire and EMTs, and all those critical essential services, like our bus service, so people can get to the vaccination site in Germantown. We're keeping that free. That was announced this last week as well. And so we're working on a whole range of things, but we're in the budget process over the next 2 months. And one of the things I'll be focused on in regards to our libraries is making sure that we are well positioned. And we've started this process already. I was able to push back on a cut to the collection budget and save some of that, because we're going to need more library services, not less, as we come out of this pandemic. And we're going to need to do things we haven't done before and in different ways, and outreach to different communities. The last thing I'll say is this pandemic, these multiple pandemics, the health fallout, the economic fallout, and the racial and social justice pandemic, as we watch the trial of former Officer Chauvin every day in brutal detail on our screens, is we know that this has disproportionately hurt low-income communities of color, communities with disabilities, immigrant communities, and we need to make sure that to have an equitable recovery, we are targeting our resources, our programs, to help those who have been hurt the most by this pandemic. And libraries have a role to play as a community connector to services and hubs, and as people look to start new businesses or find employment or get early childhood education for their children or improve or do homework club and to help with learning loss. Go down the list. I could tie every part of our recovery. The library has a role to play. And so we're going to be focused on that in this budget as well. So I'll pause there and just say it's an honor to represent you. It's an honor to be in Olney, and happy to take questions. So the way we do it is if you have a question or a comment, just you can raise your hand or turn your video on, and we will either I'll answer or I'll ask Director Vasala to help me out as well. So I see, and feel free to, we don't have the huge groups. This is good. I think we got about 20 people on, which is nice. The one thing about these library tours is we've had anywhere from 10 people to 100 people. I think we had almost 100 people in Damascus when we did it up there. This was pre-pandemic, obviously, but and so they've been really, really informative for me. So feel free to. I think, do people have the ability to unmute themselves, or do they have to request it? Seamus?
They should have the ability to unmute themselves because everyone, I mean, Anita is able to unmute herself, so everyone else should be able to as well. Yeah,
Tim, there you go. I just saw you did it. I'm going to call on you, Tim, since you unmuted yourself. Do you have anything to ask or say?
I'm here learning. You know, I'm a new member of the library board.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I support Olney. This is my hometown. So I appreciate everything you had to say.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining the board. That's and I don't know if we have the Friends of the Library. I see Lisette is here from Friends of the Library. And Ari, okay, there she is, Ari Brooks, who's our great leader at Friends of the Library, which supports the work that we're doing. All right, and I see Nina has her hand up, so maybe we go to Nina.
Hello, Councilmember Juando. You probably recognize me from the Board of Elections.
I do.
Yes. I'm the co-chair of the Olney LAC, and we love our library, singular and community-wise, and we're passionate about supporting it. I want to first thank you for saving the money for the collections, because that is, between the issues with Amazon and some of the publishing companies, which I'm sure you're aware of, it's very costly to get books into a public library these days. But one of my concerns is the libraries took a significant hit this year because of the reality of the budget. And as you have seen, our very dedicated staff is very overworked. The number of Zoom or distance programs that they're doing is phenomenal. The holds to go is amazing with the number of books that are going out. What, if anything, is being done to shore up staffing and staff shortages?
Yeah, that's a great question. Maybe Anita, do you want to start with that? And I can.
Sure, I can start with that. So, hi, Nina. How are you doing tonight?
Hanging on.
It's nice to see you. I think I'm not sure that everyone is aware that the county currently has a hiring freeze in place. And so when we get ready to hire, we need to go through a position exemption request process. So as we move to reopen the branches, we are beginning to put our kind of master project plan together as to what positions we're going to ask for exemptions for, so that we can get folks back in our branches to support the work that's going to need to be done. So we're looking at both positions at the administrative level, because we have let some of those lapse in order to save money for over a year, and also the positions that we need in our branches to support the direct customer service that is so important. So that will be underway. Our recommended budget, which was transmitted to council by the county executive, is basically a continuity of operations budget. So our personnel budget, as I think you all know, is probably about $39 million. We have over 400 full-time equivalents of staff working in the department. And what we are going to hope for is that the Office of Management and Budget will look upon us kindly in terms of our requests to go forward with filling our positions. And Councilmember Jawando will know more about this, I think, because he would have seen from the transmitted budget that there were a couple of things that the CE did not feel he could approve, but you probably see those.
Yep.
And we'll make a recommendation to the committee and then to the full council as to whether or not those are things that can be accomplished.
Yeah. And I'll add, I wanted you to go first. That's perfect segue. Is it Nina? Is that how you
Yes.
pronounce it? Okay. And
Yeah,
I
but I answered Anina. It's okay.
I apologize. So I'm glad.
It's all
I'm
right.
glad I was corrected. We will take up the library budget in committee in the next. I don't want to even say when. It's coming up, and in the education committee. And as I mentioned, we protected the collections budget. Everything I just said at the beginning, you can't do what we need to do with the libraries without having a full complement of staff and expand the services that we're going to need to expand. And so I think when the budget was transmitted, we didn't know about the American Rescue Plan, what exactly was going to be in there. There's also, I think, this infrastructure plan I'm really excited about, that this $2 trillion plan that's going to be put forward, that you can't count the money before it's passed, but
Right.
there are a lot of things in there that have a nexus to libraries, things and it could help relieve pressure on other parts of the budget, depending on how that plays out. So we'll have to see how that goes. My point being is, I don't think we're in as bad of a fiscal position over the next 2 years as we thought we might have been. And I actually think making critical investments that are going to help our economy and our residents rebound, and I think libraries play a role in that, is something that we should be doing. And so when you talk about the relative size of this budget and the bang for the buck that you can get from strategic investments and services here, we're going to be looking at that very carefully as we consider the budget. So it's a good point. I'm glad you bring it up, Nina, and just, I can't tell you anything specifically yet, but it's something that I'm concerned about and that we'll be looking at when we take the budget up in committee.
Okay. I have one more question.
Sure.
The Clarksburg community is growing exponentially. And we know this from the Board of Elections also, and finding places where people can vote. Are there any plans in the next couple of years to open a large, say, Wheaton type regional library that's got the rec center, a community center, a library, all of that in one large building? Because it seems to have worked very well in Wheaton, and it would sure be helpful to residents in the Clarksburg area, because the closest library would be either Germantown, Quince Orchard, or Gaithersburg, or Damascus, which is very small.
There is in the CIP, the Capital Improvement Program, which is the infrastructure, building government buildings and roads and other things. There is planning money for a Clarksburg library. It's not as that envisioned of that multi-center approach. It's just a library. And I've been pushing for, and I pushed it with my colleagues, that we need to keep that in there. There has been some desire to delay it more and push it out. And right now it's on track. I don't want to, Anita might know better than I what the year is. Yeah, go ahead.
So to be honest about the type of facility that you're mentioning, Nina, my understanding is that it's extremely difficult for the county to locate land that would have the capacity for a large scale facility. The one in Wheaton was built on property that was owned by the county for a library and recreation facility. So the library in Clarksburg is going to be on land that was donated by one of the developers. It's going to be kind of an anchor in a town center. The footprint is not huge, so it's going to be a two-story library is kind of the way that it's envisioned right now. I mean, I think that the problem really is just being able to find a place to put a big facility up there because, you know, from what I have heard, most of the land has been already purchased by developers. So
Yeah.
they would have to be willing to either donate or sell to the county in order to put a facility of that
Okay.
size up there. And I don't think that's happening. So we have not, the funding for the library was actually moved forward a little bit.
Right.
So that in 2023, we can really get down to the nitty gritty of the program of requirements and the design, and of course, begin to involve the community in what they would like to see in that building. And then I think actual construction for it is, as I recall, slated for fiscal year 2026.
Wow.
So it's still a little ways out. We have to get, you know, we have to be sure that we're doing what the community is looking for in that building, get the biggest bang for a small space, you know, to be really
Right.
clear. It might be, I'm not really sure the square footage, but again, 2 stories, maybe the size of Olney. And then get underway with the construction. I think the area where it's to be built is still not fully built out at this time, but yeah,
Yeah, I think
we're
that's
fully
right.
aware that Clarksburg needs its library.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Anybody else? Yes, I don't know. I saw you, you popped onto the screen. I don't know if that was to say something or just to be present, which I appreciate. And I might be mispronouncing your name there. Okay.
It is Mr. Yesh. Miss Yesh, hi, how are you doing? Yesh is actually a library staff member.
Oh,
Did
awesome.
you have anything you wanted to let the council member know about?
Well, what is it?
No, we were just asking if you had anything you wanted to say, but if not, no big deal. Thanks for joining.
Oh, you're welcome.
Ari, how about if you pop back on for a second? Can you give us? You got a couple things going on. Anything? Maybe you give a quick update on what's going on in your world, and then anything you think I need to know.
Sure. Thank you. Glad to be here tonight. So we have our 7th annual Library After Dark Gala on Saturday at 7 o'clock, starting with a literary cocktail hour. And it'll be our 2nd attempt at doing this virtually, and everybody in this virtual room is invited. It is free to attend. And you do have to register at folmc.org. It's our local celebration of National Library Week. So happy National Library Week to all of the librarians in the room. Yay. So we will be awarding the digital strategies, tech management, and programs and marketing team for all of their efforts in 2019 to rebrand MCPL and for their early work to, respond to the pandemic and get the system up and functioning on a virtual platform. We'll have a President's Award and a Writer's Award, an award to Henna Khan, who's a local writer who does a lot of really great things for libraries. And I can keep going. We got lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
We have the Vinyl Record Festival, which is an award-winning program that we co-sponsor with MCPL. It's all things vinyl, starts at noon on April 17th. So yeah, we're still here. We're still supporting libraries.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And I think I knew about the gala this Saturday, and I know that's always a great event. I'll be looking forward. Hopefully next year we'll be in person for that.
That would be very nice.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Thank you for all the work you all are doing. And I'm sure I'll talk to you soon about budget stuff,
Oh yeah.
Anyone else here have anything they want to add? Okay, go ahead, Tim. Yeah.
So about the infrastructure bill, have you heard or read anything that might indicate what would funnel into libraries?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it's frankly, it's one of these things when I read something every day about this infrastructure bill because it's $2 trillion that they're proposing. And one of the things that obviously there's a broadband kind of a connectivity aspect to it that could have you could see that there might be a role for libraries there. There's also a greening of of buildings and kind of upgrading our our making sure our greenhouse gas emissions and the environmental sustainability of buildings. There'll be money for that, so that could be another potential thing. There actually is also I think there's going to be a heavy informational component that if it creates, a big part of it will be creating these jobs to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. And I think that we could think there might be some nexus for the libraries to play a role in, connecting people to those jobs as hubs. I even heard something about the other day about incentives to local jurisdictions that want to produce different types of affordable housing, not necessarily related to libraries, but and obviously our bus routes, our bus infrastructure. One of the things I'm working on with our Department of Transportation now is how do we redesign our routes so that they are strategically connected to community hubs like libraries, right? So I think there's some nexus there. But trust me, I'll be scraping it, assuming it passes. We'll be looking every nick and cranny to see if there are ways that we can connect it to. There's even some relationship to criminal justice reform in this bill, as far as flexibility with some of the funding around retraining formerly incarcerated individuals. And so we have a library in Clarksburg that does great work at the Clarksburg jail that I visited. I could imagine that there might be some nexus there. So I think there's a lot of potential opportunity, and we'll be looking not just for libraries, but I will be looking specifically of how we can leverage something like that, because it's a unique opportunity if it can come to fruition. And if you hear of anything, send me an email.
That was
Anyone?
Good stuff. Thanks.
No problem. Anyone else? Nina, you want to go ahead? Round two.
Yeah. You teach school for 40 years, you ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
Even though the budget's been presented and it's being debated and everything, is it still advisable to contact all of our elected officials and advocate for the library budget, or does
Absolutely.
it make that much of a difference?
This is the exact time to do so. We actually, every night this week, we have budget hearings where 40 to 50 people sign up. When I leave you, I'll be trying to eat something in between 6:30 and 7 before I have to be on budget hearings for a couple of hours where folks tell us what they want to see in the budget. So absolutely, this is a lot of those slots are filled, but not all of them. And we have them over the next couple of weeks. But you can certainly write in. This is the time when that actually makes the most difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anita, is there anything you want to share? I always want to get, I don't want to put you on the spot. I won't ask you specifically the question everyone asks you, but if there's anything you want to share about what's going on.
Right. So I can give you, a few stats. I just heard the other day that our Holds to Go program has successfully filled over 300,000 appointments for people to come in and pick up physical materials. We are handing out library cards, digital library cards right now at a tremendous rate as people who are at home begin to realize everything that the libraries can offer to them online. I think that most of our attendees here know that the libraries began lending 250 wireless hotspots back in December, so we could help community members who don't have broadband internet access connect both to MCPL and to everywhere else they need to go. And you see me dancing around the question that everybody wants the answer to, which is when are libraries reopening? So, you know, the answer is that Montgomery County Public Libraries are a department of county government. So we need to work within the framework, the constraints of county government and how it operates, and at the direction of the county executive. We meet at least twice a week, if not more often, to discuss our reopening plans and what they are going to look like when we are finally able to announce a date. It's in broad strokes, this will be a phased reopening. We are not going to throw open the doors to 21 libraries on the same day and say, come on back in, folks. So the libraries that we closed back in March of 2020 are not going to be exactly the libraries that we open, hopefully, before too much longer here in 2021. So I think that the community can expect that there will be some constraints in services, but we hope to be able to offer most of what we need to, including access to the computers, the ability to browse the collection, some other services like the purchase of the senior smart trip cards, the ability to convert a digital library card into the actual physical one if someone so chooses. So we are, as I say, and I have been saying this, and people are probably like, well, that's what she says, but I don't see her doing anything. We want to get it right and ensure the safety of both the staff and the community. You know, this coming Monday, I believe vaccines open up to every single adult in the county. So, and I am hearing from my staff that it is pretty simple now to go and get a vaccine. It's not taking, you know, it's not vaccine hunter time anymore. There are a lot of opportunities. And so, as you know, we see that more of the county's population is vaccinated. Hopefully we'll be able to move forward pretty rapidly with restoring services. As was alluded to earlier, though, we are carrying a pretty fair number of vacancies. And, you know, to be honest, we've had people who have decided that at this point in their lives, they don't want to be involved in direct customer service anymore, which I certainly understand. So, you know, we have some work to do on that end. We hope to keep the best of what we've learned as we've gone through the pandemic year and roll it into what we were doing previously. So things are going to be different, but I think that the library that everyone knows and loves is going to make its way back over the course of the next several months, and we'll see how it goes. I just received an email from someone who is a director of the libraries in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they are rolling their service back next week to curbside only from being open. So I have said
what was the reason for that?
the uptick
Uptick in cases. Yeah.
uptick in cases.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a shifting platform, and we have to continue to find a balance there.
Yep. Well, I can tell you, I meet with the county executive quite often, and we have a scheduled time once a month, and this is something that's on my agenda to speak to him about. I know people are, you know, rightfully curious about, you know, why is this open and why is that not open? And there's obviously unique circumstances with every institution, and you heard Anita talk about several of them, but I certainly look forward to the time as vaccinations go up and case rates hopefully go down. As we're heading, we can get to a point where there is some sort of partial reopening, and so even and I know they're working on appointment based and all those things that'll to keep people safe. So more to come on. We will be very excited when we can announce something more than what was just said. I know no one will be more excited than Anita. So, all right. Well, Jan, I want to give you the closing word here. If no one else, this is your library, your branch. Anything you want to say about the beautiful Olney Library and the library system in general?
Well, I'm just really delighted that you're in our branch, council member, and I'm also delighted with all the folks who are out here tonight attending this town hall. And I appreciate the support of each and every one of you. I see several of our library advisory committee members and friends of the library, the local Friends of the Library group. And it takes all of them, everybody, including our staff, who work very hard to keep the place running. And we're delighted and excited to be doing what we're doing because the community really appreciates our holds to go and appreciate being able to call in and ask us reference questions. And it's a very rewarding thing to be doing. And I just, we work very hard, but it's a very gratifying work. Thank you again, council member, for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for sharing that. And I will put in the chat, I'm very easy to find. But if you need to email me for any reason or my office, I often say that whether you need a pothole fixed or you care about some policy issue or budget issue with libraries, reach out to us and we will do our best to help you or get you to the right place. So with that, I'm going to get some dinner and then jump on my budget hearings. But good to see everybody. And I'm going to walk around the library with Jan here just to soak it all in. And I'll post some pictures of that later. But thank you so much. And I know some of you don't watch this in real time. We get a lot of people who watch it afterwards on our Facebook and YouTube pages. So thank you all for joining as well. And look forward to seeing you at the next one. And we'll make sure we promote that with the libraries and we'll be in touch. So good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.